I am Mike Pruitt. I am President and CEO of Chanticleer Holdings based in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're traded on NASDAQ under the symbol HOTR to reflect our focus on the Hooters brand. Well, I actually met Mr. Brooks in 2002, and he became, like a mentor, and he really took an active interest in, what I was doing with Chanticleer in terms of investments we were making. And so a couple things happened in that time. One, I was given the opportunity to ring the bell at the American Stock Exchange, and I, on a whim, asked Mr. Brooks if he wanted to go. He flew up to New York and stood up there on the podium with me as I rang the bell, put his arm around, said, "I'm really proud." He goes, "But I think it would look a lot better down there if there was a bunch of Hooters girls instead of those traders." And so that really became the premise, and I think in his thought process, of potentially taking Hooters public. In April of 2006, we made a $5 million convertible note investment into Hooters. And with that convertible note, Mr. Brooks gave me and Chanticleer two things that are the foundation of Chanticleer today. One was, in the event something ever happened to him and his family decided to sell, he gave me the first right of refusal to buy it. That opportunity, unfortunately, because of his death and the decision of the family to sell, became an opportunity that we took advantage of and bought the company January a year ago. The second was, in that same $5 million note, he gave us the opportunity to pick any country in the world that the development rights hadn't been sold. And we picked South Africa. And in South Africa today, we just finished opening our 4th store in February, and it's been very successful. And because of that success, we decided to solely concentrate Chanticleer on the Hooters brand, and primarily in the emerging markets of South Africa, now Brazil, Australia, and in Eastern Europe, the start being in Budapest, Hungary.
Hi, welcome to Hooters!
I became part of Chanticleer Holdings through my relationship with Mike Pruitt. Mike and I met while I was working on a previous restaurant venture, and at that time, Chanticleer Holdings was already on the rise. They were investing heavily in South Africa and looking at Australia, doing some very, very interesting things. And frankly, the more I talked to Mike, the more excited I got about what he was doing. I got excited about the kind of strategy he was looking to execute, and frankly, executing quite well. And when the opportunity came for me to join the Chanticleer Holdings team, I jumped at it. The European reception to US-based restaurants is quite good. It really depends on the brand's ability to differentiate itself. One of the big benefits of Hooters as a brand is there's really no other brand like it. So when we come into a European market, we can say that this is a unique concept. There's nothing else like it on the landscape. And for that reason, and frankly our ability to execute well, I think we're going to do very well in Europe. The reception to Hooters in Hungary has been very strong. We've received the kind of press, frankly, that other brands wish that they could get.
Hi, welcome to Hooters of Brazil.
Last year, I was introduced by Tori Bartlett to Mr. Mike Pruitt, and we started to talk about how our Hooters São Paulo was doing, and we started to talk about a new development for other states outside São Paulo. We set a joint venture between our company that runs Hooters in São Paulo state with Chanticleer, and we have a new agreement for development the Hooters brand in Espírito Santo state, Minas Gerais state, and Rio de Janeiro state. Our São Paulo store are doing great. We are, I think, the number 3 on sales on international stores. We are just behind Tokyo and Singapore, and the São Paulo people loves the brand. We put some new dishes, some Brazilian steaks, and they love it. Brazilian people love sports. They are crazy about soccer, and Hooters is now the soccer home for our fans, and they love to have beer and watch the soccer games. Not just soccer, but other sports also. So now the Hooters is the sports house for the fans.
Hi, welcome to Hooters of South Africa.
My background in the restaurant industry goes back to 1995. My business partner and I at the time, we invested in a restaurant in Umhlanga, sports bar coincidentally. And we owned and operated 3 other stores simultaneously over the years as well. But our first restaurant was always our core business, and that's the one that we transformed into a Hooters in Umhlanga, Durban in December 2009. Chanticleer always had an invested interest in South Africa, but it goes back to about 4 years ago. I was approached by a South African gentleman with a view to transforming our store into a Hooters of America. So chicken's always been my favorite protein, so I knew there and then that the brand had a great future in South Africa. In 2010 we opened in Johannesburg, just in time for the Soccer World Cup. 2011 we opened in Cape Town, and then 2012, February this year, we opened in Emperor's Palace Casino in Johannesburg. Initially when we first opened, it was predominantly male, probably 90%, but I believe the brand is evolving nicely over the past 3 years. I'd say that percentage of women and children to come to our restaurant now is sitting at about 25%. So, and that percentage is growing day by day. Having Chanticleer behind us, I mean, the support, the loyalty, and the trust that's been shown towards us in South Africa has been a huge boost for us. It's given us, I believe, a very strong foothold in the South African market.
G'day, welcome to Hooters of Australia.
15 years ago, I was working in South Africa for a public listed company in the hospitality industry. My role predominantly those days were to go into troubled areas, look at restaurants that are not succeeding. I would then go and spend 2-3 months and either turn it around or close it down. Hence I got selected to come to Australia because the group had 3 restaurants. They spent $7 million and they couldn't make it work. They opened up the restaurants and they kept on failing. So they had one left over in Sydney, Australia, in Rydalmere. I came over, spent 3 months, worked 7 days a week, and I doubled the store's turnover. My report back to South Africa then obviously changed the business model and adapted to the Australian culture. Now currently there's another 9 stores. My wife actually, how I got to get involved with Hooters, my wife actually saw an ad and she said, hey, this is a great opportunity for you, it's a great company, go and you should go and work for them. And I was a bit, excuse me, Hooters, are you serious? Because I had no idea what Hooters were all about, but she did. Got the opportunity, I got shortlisted, and obviously I got selected to be the general manager for the store. And everyone started knowing that I'm a good operator, and I was looking for a partner to help me grow faster in Australia, and Mike jumped on board. We've spent a lot of money investing into our girls, training them and making sure they look after, because if they look after the customer. And Hooter girls all over the show, and all Hooter girls have the ability to look after their customers. That's all it is.
The brand is working, very well in the places that we're focused on, and look, we're also focused constantly on looking for new opportunities, because there's plenty of the world that's left for Hooters to conquer. It's a very basic concept in that we want to open one great restaurant at a time. We want to treat our people well, that they will in turn treat our customers well to enjoy the experience of coming to Hooters. Because we want it to be, when there's a soccer game or a rugby match or whatever that's on, is we're the place that people want to go. And that's what I find our challenge, and that's what I find will ultimately be our success.
At Hooters, our wings
Are hotter.